guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's video is going to be about a soil conditioner. I've had a lot of people ask me what does it do and what it is. So if you're not familiar with it, this is the one I have is a Bobcat brand. You may know them as Harley rakes, but we're going to kind of go over what it is, what the attachment's used for, and kind of how it works. So stay tuned. So the one I have is a 84-inch Bobcat soil conditioner. It's hydraulic tilt on the front and angle. So basically what this attachment is it's kind of a cross between, the way I'd put it is kind of a tiller and a box blade. So what it does is it's got this drum on here that is all the way across, and it's got all these little carbide teeth on it. So here you can see it's got a hydraulic direct drive motor on it right here, which is powered by the machine with these two, I think they're 3/4 inch hydraulic lines, and it spins this drum here. So it can either spin forwards or backwards. And it's got these little carbide teeth all the way down that's welded to this drum. But over time, these teeth wear out and they break off, but they make new ones here. I got a spare. You basically just cut this off with the grinder and you can just weld a new one on. I've had to do it on 1 or 2 of them. So this thing, when you put it down on the ground, it'll sit here and spin, and you can cut dirt with it. With the front bolster wheels up here, this thing kind of oscillates, and it's got this hydraulic cylinder here that moves this up and down. So that running this front up and down determines how much it's going to cut into the ground. So it's got these little end plates on it, and these kind of help carry the dirt, so you can move more material with it, but they are removable. Just got a little bolt here that you can take off, and then it's removable. So with it being removable, what that allows you to do is if you're wanting to windrow some material, say like you've cleared some trees and stuff and you got a bunch of sticks and like loose roots and stuff laying out there, you can angle this thing and take one of these plates off, and you can go across the dirt and it'll kind of pick up the roots and flip them out, and you can make like a pile of that trash material that you don't want. Then you can come back with your bucket or skeleton bucket and collect it. So that's a pretty cool thing on this that I really like. So on the motor side, it's got a shield over it and a little skid plate down here on the bottom. These wheels are foam filled on this one. So this plate on this side is removable as well, so you can turn it either direction. It's got one bearing you grease on it right here. Pretty simple to maintain. And it's got another cylinder. I'll go to the other side. It's got another cylinder right here which controls the angle. So with this having 3 different hydraulic functions on it, you have to have the drum turning in order to run this cylinder or that cylinder. So it runs by this 7-pin connector here that plugs into your electronics, and it's got these valves, electronic valves, that divert some oil to these cylinders to move it. So another function that this thing has is it has the ability to be straight and run flat on the ground, or you can put it in float mode with this pin here. And when the pin is back here, you can see it hinges right here. So what that allows you to do is if you're going over uneven ground, these wheels will travel and basically follow the ground. So if you're not wanting to cut material, but you're just wanting to lightly scrape it, it'll go over and hinge up and down right here. So you got either straight grade mode basically, and then the float. So these hydraulic cylinders got a couple grease zerks there and there. Got 2 here on this pivot, And this thing will actually fold all the way up. So if you don't want the wheels, or if you want to get up to something close, you can fold this thing completely up out of the way. So it's got 2 grease zerks on here on these wheel pivots, one up under here, and then a couple on those cylinders down there. But if you guys have seen my videos on some of them, I've used this thing before. I use a lot of it for finish grading, kind of dressing up the ground after some dozer work or after some skid steer work. Works pretty good for that, and it also works really good for prepping ground to lay sod. I think that's really what it's marketed for, is a ground finisher for seeding. But it basically strips grass off and it powders it up real fine. But I'll get in here and start this up and show you how it moves and works.
Results you.
Alright, so we're in the machine now. I'm going to turn on the hydraulics. And I just use my continuous flow mode on the right joystick. I'm going to click the trigger. So as you can see, the drum's spinning backwards. So now that it's going, I'm going to use the right joystick and use the up and down arrows to adjust my cylinder up front. Now it is kind of slow, but you kind of get the idea. So it can go up and down, raise it all the way up. So another good thing about this thing raising up like this is when you got to fit a lot of attachments on a trailer, you can fold this up to make more room to get it on there. So now that's folded up. Now on the left joystick, I'll use the toggle switch here, and that basically angles it, and it'll angle over pretty far, as you can see there. It's a pretty good angle on it. So you can, in continuous flow mode, the drum's going to spin backwards. So when you're driving forward, you want the drum spinning backwards. And if you're back dragging, you can stop it and spin it the other way. And then hold your toggle over to the left, and then click your continuous flow mode on your right joystick, and then you can use this attachment in reverse. So, like I said, you have to have the main drum going to make these other 2 cylinders work. So I've used this thing for fixing driveways. It works fairly good for that. So if you got somebody out there that just got some washout in their driveway, but they still got a lot of gravel that's piled up on the sides, you can kind of windrow that back in the driveway and smooth it out so they don't have to buy a bunch of new gravel for it. So the only downfall to this one is if you were going to get it for a different machine and you got the Bobcat brand, this 7-pin connector, this Bobcat's the only one that I know of that runs this style of connector, so I don't think it would really work on any other machine but a Bobcat unless you somehow change this or got some sort of adapter for it. They may make a 14-pin adapter. I've seen a few of them out there, but I've never used them, so I don't know how reliable they are. But so also on these conditioners, they make these at a high flow and a low flow. This one is a low flow model, but you can get it in a high flow. and I'll post some specs of them, kind of the hydraulic requirements and what they do. Now this one, if you're in really hard ground, it kind of stops the drum being low flow, but if you had the high flow version, they say that's where it kind of picks up and will outperform this one when you get into real tough ground. I was grading on the pond dam down there, and some of that dirt we pushed up, the stuff that had some shell in it and that real hard clay, when it dries out, it gets pretty hard. And if you're trying to dig too deep with it, it will stop the drum. You have to stop and back up and go again. But in regular ground, topsoil dirt, it won't have any problem. So another thing on here is this like rubber conveyor belt here. They got one in the front and then one on the back. So what that does is when it's digging up dirt, it'll have like big clumps of dirt. It'll just keep flicking them out in front of you until it pulverizes them up. So having this on here allows that stuff to stay out in front of you and only the fine dirt to come through. So on the back side, it puts out a nice layer of smooth dirt. So that's what that rubber is on there for. So really, if you're doing some landscaping or anything like that, this is a attachment that you really need to have. I think they actually have these for the mini skids as well, but I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they do. So very versatile. You can use it for a lot of different things. So on this hydraulic 84-inch model, the operating weight of this attachment is 1,268 pounds. It has 141 of those little carbide teeth on it. And then the angle left to right is 25 degrees. And then the flow range minimum on this attachment, being low flow, is 18 gallon a minute. And the max flow is 37 gallon a minute. Anyway, that's kind of an overview of this attachment. It works fairly well for all those tasks. I've been pretty happy with it so far. It's done pretty good for me. Now this one is pretty old. I think it's a 2015 model, so it's seen some use on it. But these teeth, like these, are all original here, and they're not worn very bad at all. And this thing's been in some pretty tough gravel. It's scraped across some limestone rock. I mean, they're kind of smoothed down, but you can see that carbide tip still on there after all that use. So I think they hold up pretty well. So anyway, here at the end of the video, I'll put in some footage of this thing working and kind of show you how it works. So if you're one of the people that were wondering kind of what all this attachment does, hopefully this video helped you out. And it's a really good attachment to have. It's not something I use very often. I mean, I do use it quite a bit, but it's not like something you use every day, like a bucket or a grapple or pallet forks. But it is a very good attachment to have in your arsenal. So anyway, hopefully you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure you like it. And if you're not subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all next time. Just gonna kind of level this off. Found a piece of metal right there.